Archangel Michael says, I was sent to fight for your person today. But your yes is needed right now. Asterisk, child of light, hear me now. I am Michael, the great winged guardian, the blade that parts, the voice that stands between fear and your true becoming. I was sent to fight for your person today, not because you are weak, but because you are worthy of the victory that waits for you. This is not a distant promise. It is an immediate truth that asks nothing of you more than your yes. Say yes with your breath. Say yes with your hands. Say yes with your trembling heart, if it must tremble. Your permission summons the help that already encircles you. Your openness allows the light to arrange itself in your path. Hold this simple fact: protection and power do not violate your will. They honor it. I will not step into the places of your life that require your consent. I stand ready at the door. Turn the handle. Listen. There are battles around you cannot see, not works of doubt. Invisible agreements that anchor you to lesser lives. Ancestral fears passed like weather through generations. I was sent to fight for you today, to sever those cords. But I require your assent. Refusal is not a failure. It is a choice to remain where you are. Saying yes is an act of courage, a spiritual alignment that opens channels for divine support to ground into action. So begin with this. Take a breath that reaches your belly. With that breath, speak aloud or send it into the silence of your soul. This single word, yes, let it be the bridge between what is and what may be. When you say yes, you are not signing a contract written in ink. You are nudging the universe and the hosts of heaven to marshal on your behalf. You are permitting me to take up the task, to clear the way, to stand before unseen and seen adversaries, to call down courage to your marrow. You are not alone. Know the company that surrounds you. There are lights, not all loud, not all blazing, that have stood watch at your edges. Some are ancestors who loved you fiercely. Some are teachers who recognized your ache for truth. Some are strangers whose brief kindnesses created footholds for you to climb. And we, the guardians, are here, assigned to the holiness of your life. We are not distant judges. We are allies who will take up burdens that are not yours to carry. If you let us, I will not promise a life without hardship. I will promise you the clarity to see what is essential, the strength to let go of what is not, and the sword to cut through what clings like thorns. There will be nights of testing, as there must be for any soul learning to stand in its full sovereignty. But there will also be days arranged like gifts, where small mercies land repeatedly until you learn to expect goodness. Hear me on doubt. Doubt is not your enemy. It is an invitation to honest inquiry. But when doubt becomes a moat that isolates you from possibility, it is time for a bridge. I will lay that bridge. Sometimes I use a feather of reassurance. Sometimes I use the roar of circumstance that plows away the illusions you thought protected you. Trust that the method matters less than the outcome. I come with a variety of tools: whispers, thunder, an opening door, a person who appears when you most need them. All of this is part of the fight I wage on your behalf. You may ask, how do I participate? How can a human partake in angelic assistance? It begins with presence. Presence is the armor you put on that lets celestial help anchor in your field. Be present to small acts, to the call on your phone, to the moment you pause before speaking, to the feeling in your chest that asks for attention. Presence is prayer in motion. It is the way you translate yes into living action. Practice gratitude as a battlefield tactic. Gratitude does not mean denying the pain. It means enlarging your perception so that the good can enter and fortify you. When you name what is already life-giving, you shift the magnetic pull of your days. I will fight harder for you when you keep your eyes on the stars rather than the quicksand. This is not about perfection. It is about creating a field where blessings can hold. Forgiveness is another sword. Forgiveness is not a surrender to injustice. It is liberation from being bound to the person or memory that would keep you small. Forgive to free yourself. When you forgive, which may take many lifetimes of learning, you break contracts of suffering. I will stand by your side as you do it. If you cannot forgive yet, say so honestly. The work of forgiveness can begin with small mercies, naming the hurt, offering a release clause in your heart, setting boundaries that preserve your peace. Practical steps for the warrior who walks the world. Claim a moment each morning to speak aloud your yes. It can be as brief as, I say yes to love, to courage, to clarity. Make it a ritual. Make it unshakable. Place your hand over your heart and call my name or the name of your highest ally and ask for protection as you move through the day. Visualize a blue-gold light closing around you like a cloak. If fear tightens your throat, imagine a sword of bright purpose in your hands. Hold it, feel the weight. Name one small action that sword can accomplish today. A phone call, a letter, a confession, and do it. Make space for rest. The warrior who refuses rest fights on borrowed courage. Sleep, pause, breathe. When decisions loom, walk outdoors if you can. Let the horizon remind you of larger perspective. The winds will carry away the oppressive minutiae. You may worry that saying yes will demand everything. It will require everything that is true of you, but it will not demand the parts that are tired, broken, or coerced. Saying yes invites the right doors to open and the wrong doors to remain closed. It does not mean you will not shed tears. It means that your tears will be the water that helps you grow, rather than the storm that drowns you. There is power in naming your fear. Speak it into a safe space. I will meet it there. The moment you name what you fear, I fear failing, I fear being abandoned. When fear is legible, it can be wrestled into a place that serves you. The fight I come to is not to remove all discomfort, but to restore your sovereign authority over it. You are the steward of your inner kingdom. Let me tell you about courage. Because you think it looks one way, and it often looks another. Courage is not always heroic leaps. Often, courage is the small, steady acts, showing up, speaking truth, tending to your neighbor, saying no when you're stretched thin, saying yes when your soul perks up. Courage is messy. Courage is tender. Courage is, in many moments, simply continuing to choose the path that aligns with your light. You are more beloved than you know. Not because I say so, but because the source that animates life has invested you with worth. When you doubt your value, consider this: the cosmos did not spin without purpose to produce you. You are a necessary chord in a larger symphony. What you bring, no matter how small or how unfinished, completes a harmony that would otherwise be missing. Step into that presence if you are wounded by others. Remember that wounding often springs from fear and ignorance, and sometimes from malice. The type of healing you deserve depends on truth. Truthful boundaries, truthful naming, truthful healing practices. You are not required to reconcile with everyone who harms you. Reconciliation is a flower that grows where both parties tend the soil. Sometimes the healthiest path is distance with compassion. I will defend your borders so you can heal within them. To those who feel called to serve, your yes matters. The world is desperate for steady hands. Service does not have to be loud to be transformative. A single act of true listening can change the course of a life. Begin where you are. Use what you have. Love what you can. We support those who labor in humble, honest love to those who are at a crossroads. Say yes to curiosity. Curiosity is a lantern that reveals hidden doors. Ask the brave questions. What holds me back? What am I willing to try? What would I regret not doing? Then take one small step. I will walk at the edge of that step with you, clarifying the road ahead. There will be times when your path requires surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is attunement to a deeper intelligence. When you release the desperate need to control every plank of the bridge, you allow the river to do its holy work. Trust that I and the forces with me will gather the pieces you need to continue. You do not surrender to emptiness. You surrender to a larger, wiser current. You might ask, why ask for consent? Why insist that I must be invited? Because your soul's freedom matters. Divine aid honors free will. A gift that violates your will would not be a gift. When you say yes, you participate in a covenant, a cooperative dance between your human courage and celestial support. The dance is reciprocal. You offer your yes, and I bring the movements that carry it into being. Now, practical prayer for when the night is loud and your spirit needs reinforcement. Say these words slowly, with intention. You may repeat them as often as needed. Michael, great protector, I open my heart and say yes. Fight for my peace, stand guard at my thresholds, and light my way. Sever the cords that bind me to fear. Guide my steps toward what is true and good. Give me courage for the small tasks and strength for the great ones. Hold me in this day. Amen. After this prayer, do one thing, however small, that aligns with the yes you have spoken. It may be an apology, a message, a small act of courage. The prayer is the key. The action is the unlocking. Receive this promise. When you say yes and move deliberately, situations will change. Not always immediately, and not always in ways you expected, but the architecture of your life will shift. Doors will align, people will appear, resources will come, sometimes through unlikely channels. Keep watch for minor miracles, a phone call, a timely idea, a restful night that leaves you steadier than the day before. Celebrate these small mercies. They are the breadcrumbs that show the path forward. Remember also to hold compassion for yourself. You are learning. You will stumble. Each stumble is not a failure. It is data. It reveals where your armor is thin and where your courage needs tending. Tend yourself like the fragile, remarkable being that you are. You are worthy of patience. Let the final note be this: your yes is a flame. It calls me and my battalion. It clarifies the sky above your life and makes visible the paths previously hidden by fog. When you say yes, you do not ever do so alone. You co-create with the highest forces of love and justice. The battles I fight on your behalf are not petty. They are the pruning necessary for your soul to reach its canopy. Open it immediately. Open the heart, open the hand, open the door. Say yes to the help that waits. Let fear know that you are choosing to be defended by truth. Let sorrow know that you will have allies to carry its weight. Let joy know that you are ready to receive it fully. And know this always: I stand on the threshold of your life right now. Sword at my side, wings wide, ready. Your simple, present tense consent is the trumpet that calls me in. Speak it, live it, Walk with the assurance that the highest orders the universe toward those who say yes to becoming who they were made to be. I am with you. I have come. Say yes. Open dot. Asterisk. Child of dawn. Attend. I am Michael. I have come to the threshold of your life today because a mighty decree moved across the realms. You are called to rise. I was sent to fight for your person, to stand between you and that which would diminish your spirit, to cut the cords that bind, to stand like a shield when the night presses close. Yet, even the winged hosts honor the sovereignty of your heart. Your yes is needed. Open it immediately. Hear me with more than your ears. Hear me with the part of you that remembers your first breath. The part that has never forgotten the bright thread of belonging to the source of all. This is not a plea. It is an invitation, urgent, tender, uncompromising. We stand ready, edge to edge. But the portal between what waits for you and what remains merely possible opens only when you say yes. Say yes now. Not someday. Not when you feel less afraid. Not when the coast is clear. Say yes now in the plain language of the soul. I open. I consent. I receive. Speak it aloud, or speak it in the silent chambers of your heart. Make it an act. Your yes is the key that harmonizes heaven's movement with the decisions you make here on earth. Without it, forces can gather but cannot enter fully to do the work that belongs to them. Know this, saying yes is not a surrender of your will. It is the reclaiming of it. The cosmos does not force. It invites. When you receive aid, you are not becoming passive. You are entering into partnership with power that is older than fear, truer than the lies that have shadowed you. You remain the steward of your life. You remain the one who walks and chooses, but you choose with allies at your side. There are battles you cannot fight alone because they are fought in the hidden architecture of reality, ancestral patterns, agreements you never willingly signed, fears that replicate like echoes, blind spots where influence gathers. To win those fights, you need more than human strength. I was sent today to pull those ropes taut and snip them where they cut you. But to step into that mission, I must be invited by the authority that rests within you. If fear whispers, "What if I fail?" answer with your breath. If shame says, "You are unworthy," answer with your name. If old grief clings like ivy to your ribs, reach out and say, "I accept help." That reach, a single, honest reach, is the beginning of a cascade. You may not feel the full tides at once. You will, however, begin to notice cracks in the walls that have kept light out. People will appear. Doors will swing. A courage you thought long gone will return like a river, remembering its bed. I will tell you now, how I fight for a person. My work is not showy for its own sake. I do not parade power like a trophy. I operate with surgical precision and with the insistence of mercy. Sometimes I remove what harms by cutting it outright, a relationship that would drain you, a story you have told yourself that keeps you small. Sometimes I steady you through storms by wrapping you in presence so that decisions can be made with clarity rather than panic. Sometimes I send a small, improbable kindness that shifts a horizon, a messenger who appears at the exact second you need them, a letter that arrives when you felt isolated, a seed of courage that germinates quietly. This is not magic without cost. The spiritual life asks of you 3 things: honesty, courage, and perseverance. Honesty pulls the curtain on the part you have hidden, even from yourself. Courage moves you to act on the truth you see. Perseverance keeps you at the practice of becoming when the world offers slow reward. Say yes to these disciplines. They are the instruments through which the celestial and the human mix their strengths. Listen closely. Consent is not a singular utterance. It is a continuum. You can say yes in a whisper and then test that yes with a small action. You can say yes in a morning prayer and then say yes again in the way you choose to rest, to speak, to set a boundary. Your yes must be repeated enough to become the muscle memory of your life. When you begin to practice this repetition, something beautiful happens. Not only does aid come to you, but you increasingly move with integrity. Your yes becomes a beacon. It calls not only me, but every force that aligns with your truth. I will be plain. There will be resistance. The forces that profit from your smallness are cunning. They will disguise themselves as duty, as loyalty, as the voices of loved ones. They will remind you of a past mistake and use it to anchor you to shame. These are, very often, the last efforts of what must fall away. Do not mistake their cunning for your truth. Learn to ask, does this preserve my soul or exhaust it? Does this align with love or with fear? When the answer leans toward fear, say yes to liberation. You will be tempted to think that consent means immediate victory. That is not how growth tends to work. There will be nights of testing, for testing reveals the strength of what has been forged. But here is a promise of steadiness. I do not engage in aimless warfare. Every cut is precise. Every intervention is calibrated to the good of your life. We fight so you can learn to stand in your full measure. We fight so you can love without fear. We fight so you can offer your gifts without self-erasure. Now, practical counsel from a guardian who has watched eons fold and unfold. Begin with the body. The body is the vessel the soul uses to speak into the world. When stress tightens your shoulders, take 3 long breaths that fill the abdomen and release slowly. With each exhale, imagine a small snip of the cord of worry. Make this breath an invocation. Michael, fight for my peace. Repetition trains the nervous system to believe that help is near. Anchor in truth each morning. Name one true thing about yourself that you will carry through the day. I am learning. I am worthy of rest. I will speak my limits. These are small flags that declare your interior sovereignty. Place them where you will see them. A note on your mirror, a reminder on your phone, a ring on your finger. Guard your borders. Not everything that asks for your time deserves it. A boundary is a spiritual practice. Saying no is not cruelty. It is clarity. When someone demands a piece of you that you cannot give without losing yourself, refuse gently and resolutely. Boundaries train those who love you how to love you. Asterisk, name the fear aloud. If you are terrified that love will hurt you, say, I fear being hurt. If you are afraid of failure, say, I fear not succeeding. When you mouth the fear in daylight, it loses its monstrous shape and becomes techalable. Then invite me in, Michael. Stand with me against this fear. I will do the cutting work necessary to loosen its grip. Practice small courage each day. Courage need not be grand. Make the phone call you have postponed. Sit with someone who needs presence rather than answers. Apologize where you need to. Claim joy when it arrives. Each small victory creates a scaffold large enough for the next. Learn to receive. Many of you give tirelessly, but withhold the receiving you deserve. Receiving is not selfish. It is sacred. When someone offers you help, accept it with grace. Then let someone else feel the gratitude of giving. This completes a circle that refreshes the human heart. Remember the covenant of rest. Rest is not a retreat from duty. It is the engine of it. In rest, the soul remembers its true rhythm. Do not mistake busyness for meaning. A life arranged around service but deprived of replenishment will fracture. Rest not as laziness, but as necessity. You may wonder about prayer that moves mountains. Prayer is not an incantation to demand the world bend to your will. Prayer is alignment. It brings your inner compass into true heading so that your actions match the intention of the highest. When you pray, pray with specificity. Name the thing you need, the change you hope for, the way your heart longs to feel. Then state your willingness to act in ways that correspond to that prayer. This is not bargaining. It is partnership. Asterisk. Let me speak now to the wounds that feel permanent. There are pains of betrayal, loss, and cruelty that have settled into the bones. These do not vanish overnight. Healing is a patient alchemy that moves in seasons. You must be both gentle and stubborn with yourself. Gentle in the tenderness you offer your own suffering. Stubborn in your refusal to let pain define your identity. Seek help, counsel, trusted companions, ritual that helps you release. Do not be ashamed of asking for help. Asking is a courageous step toward wholeness. Compassion is a tool and a way. Compassion for others and for yourself is not a softening of standards. It is an intelligence that recognizes complexity. When someone acts in a way that wounds you, consider this: often pain begets pain. That knowledge does not excuse hurtful actions, but it can change how you respond. Protect yourself. Forgive when you can and when it is safe to do so. Forgiveness does not erase what happened. It frees you from being tethered to it. Community matters. The human heart is not designed for isolation. Find or build circles where truth is welcomed and where accountability is available. Healthy community will cheer you on, correct you with love, and celebrate the small openings of grace in your life. Communities are also imperfect. Learn discernment. Not every circle is yours to stay in. Your yes will sometimes require that you leave relations that no longer serve your growth. To those who carry leadership, your yes now will shape many lives. Leadership is the stewardship of influence. Use it to create conditions where people can flourish. Model humility. Admit mistakes. Protect the vulnerable. The stronger your integrity, the more your yes ripples into others. Capacity to say yes to those who are young in spirit or in years. Do not be impatient with the pace of growth. The universe often moves in epochs, and you occupy only one. There is a hunger in you for immediate change. I know, but the patient arc of a soul's work will reward steady faithfulness. Plant seeds with care. Water them. Trust soil and time. Let me give you rituals, small and accessible, that call me near. Rituals anchor intention in visible acts. Ritual 1. The opening flame. Light a candle as a symbol of consent. Say, Michael, I open my heart to your protection and guidance. Hold your hand above the flame safely and see the light reflect in your eyes. Let the image of the flame be the sign that you are no longer in darkness alone. Ritual 2. The cord-cutting breath. Sit or stand comfortably. Inhale slowly for a count of 4. Hold to exhale 4. As you exhale, imagine a luminous blade severing cords that bind you. Cords of shame, guilt, false obligation. You do this 3 times. After the 3rd breath, whisper, I am free to move. Ritual 3. the shield invocation. Place your hands on your chest. Visualize a shield of blue gold light expanding outward 10 feet. Say, Michael, stand before me. Shield what is holy within me. Let only what aligns with love and truth enter. Walk into your day remembering this shield. Ritual for the yes. Jar. Keep a small jar and slips of paper. Each time you say yes to something that aligns with your highest intent, a brave conversation, a morning practice, a boundary honored, write it down and drop it in the jar. When despair visits, open the jar and read what your yes has already created. These rituals are not magic keys without meaning. They are bridges between intention and action. Use them until they become part of your rhythm. Then use them some more. You will meet darkness. Because darkness is not an absence of God, but often a place where the unhealed congregate. Resist the temptation to respond to darkness with more darkness. Use light, clarity, courage, and practical love. Speak truth into your circumstances with firmness and tenderness. This will not define me. I will place healthy limits. I ask for what I need. Words have weight. They set architecture in motion. Remember, too, that mercy is not a one-way street. Be merciful with yourself when you fail to live up to your standards. Be merciful in the long work of recovery. Yet couple mercy with accountability. Mercy that removes responsibility becomes indulgence. Mercy that invites growth becomes liberation. You may ask, what does it feel like to be guarded by an archangel? It feels sometimes like an inexplicable calm when panic would be natural. It feels like an inner voice that insists on truth. It feels like doors opening you had not planned for. It feels like a courage that appears in your limbs when you need to act. Sometimes it feels simply like conviction, a sense that what you do matters. It is not always dramatic. Often it is small and steady. Now I will speak on choices that shape destiny. You are not a passive subject to fate. You are a co-author. Each choice, even small, draws lines in the future. You will not make all the right choices. You will make many that you correct later. The aim is not perfection. The aim is fidelity to truth, to love, to the practice of doing the next right thing. When in doubt, choose the path that enlarges capacity for love, rather than the one that preserves comfort at the cost of soul. Let me be direct. There are times when saying yes will cost you relationships, status, or ease. There will be losses. Losses are integral to growth. They clear the space for a new form to be created. Yet you will never lose what is essential to your soul's purpose. That which serves your purpose will remain or will be replaced by something truer. Trust the trimming process. I cut so that what remains can reach its intended height. For those in despair, with the weight of the world heavy on shoulders, your life matters beyond measure. If your internal voice tells you otherwise, it lies. Reach for community, for professionals, for people who can translate your pain into tangible help. Do not think your plight is yours alone to bear. Asking for help is an act of courage. Let me be the guardian who stands at the opening when you do. Affirmations to repeat when the night is long. I say yes to help. I say yes to healing. I accept protection. I refuse to be diminished. My worth is not negotiable. My dignity remains intact. I will do the next right thing, even if it is small. I am not alone. I am accompanied by forces of love. These words are anchors. They are not substitutes for action. Use them to orient, then act from the orientation dot to those whose hands are calloused from work and care. Your labor is seen. You are not invisible to the vast field of goodness. Even in exhaustion, you are participating in a fabric that carries grace. Find moments to let joy seep in. A shared joke, a cup of tea, the sound of a child's breath. Those moments are not indulgence. They are repaired now. A counsel about endings. Endings are often feared because they feel like failure. Yet endings are also the soil for new beginnings. Learn to end things that do not bear fruit. End toxic patterns. End relationships that erode rather than edify. End self-talk that demeans. Endings can be mourned with dignity and then released with gratitude for the lessons. And always leave room for surprise. The new that arrives will often be better suited to who you are becoming than the old you clung to. As you move through your days, practice noticing small miracles. They are not always spectacular. A neighbor's unexpected kindness, a thought that lifts weight from your chest, a moment of silence that restores. These are the breadcrumbs of grace. Collect them, name them. They will build your courage over time. Finally, a directive. Open it immediately. Open the door of your heart. Open the hand that holds resentment. Open your eyes to the present help that is nearer than you know. Your yes is not theoretical. It is a practical lever. Pull it now. If you want a prayer that seals the posture of consent, speak this with breath and conviction. Michael, guardian of the threshold, I say, yes. I open my heart, my will, and my hands to receive the aid that is offered. Fight for my person, sever the cords that bind me, guard my boundaries, and bring the truth that heals. Teach me courage for the small tasks and fortitude for the great ones. Help me to rest when required and to act when necessary. Let my life be a vessel of love, not fear. Amen. After you speak it, stand, breathe, and do one thing that affirms your yes. It does not need to be monumental. It only needs to be faithful. Make a call. Send a message. Walk outside. Apologize. Forgive. Rest. Each act is a lever that shifts the great machinery of grace. Hear this for the last time in this message. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. The source of all life has not miscalculated. You are a necessary expression of beauty. Say yes to the work of waking up to that truth. When you do, you call me fully in. I will fight. I will stand. I will bear the charge of danger so you can fulfill your purpose. Lift your face. Let the light that has always been there touch you. Open it. Say yes. Walk forward with the confidence that when you consent, the forces of heaven marshal on your behalf. The battle has been appointed. The victory is possible, but the first step is yours. I am at your door. The sword at my side is tempered by compassion. The strength I bring is available the moment you say yes. Open it immediately. Open it now. Asterisk.